So as you saw with reference types, they are used to store simple values. So in here, if I have a variable called int and then age equals to, let's say 21, this is it. So you can see that it's one single value in here and nothing else. Now, when we write programs, we want to store complex values. And this is when reference types and objects come into play. So let's say that you want to store a coordinate, for example, the value for x and y. So there is a class called point in Java. So this is from java.awt, so the first one. And I'm going to show you exactly what these imports are. So if I press that, and at the very top, you can see that we have an import java.awt.star. I'm going to explain what this means later, but for now, just follow along. So this allows us to use this point class. Now I'm going to say that this is point A equals to new and then point. Now at this point, I can store the value for x. So if I press command P, have a look, it says int x and int y. So you can pass the x and y coordinates. So here, let's just say 10, comma, and then 10. Now, one thing to note is do not type x colon and then 10. Again, do not type x colon and then 10, nor y colon. So this is IntelliJ. So if I show you, so I'm going to press option and then enter. And I'm going to say do not show hints for current method, and you can see that that's gone now, but I like to show the hints, so this helps me to understand exactly what goes where. So at this point, have a look, we've got this point right here called A, and this is an object. So this point in here is an object, and I'll come back to reference types in a second, so why they are known as reference types. But in here, point A is an object, and it is because it stores more complex information. So with an integer, I can only store a number, but with this point, I can store two numbers. I can store the coordinate for x as well as the coordinate for y. So that is the main difference between reference types and primitives. Now, if I want to print the value for point A, I can say south, and then you can use south and then I think V. There we go, and it says point A plus and then point A. And if I run this, have a look what I get. So I've got point A, and this is the value. So this is the value here. So it has this string right here, which is the fully qualified name. So it's a point that contains the value x equals to 10 and y equals to 10. So this is cool. So maybe if you want to write a game, for example, this class is kind of useful, right? So you can imagine writing the snake game. So you would use a point class. So a point allows us to store both x and y coordinates, and it's known as an object. So this right here is an object. And similarly to a string, so if I say south and then point A, I can say dot, and have a look. We've got some methods available as well. So get x, get location, get y, toString equals distance. So if you want to know the distance between points, you could use this right here and some other methods. And also have a look, move. So I can move, for example, move. So maybe we've got a snake, and snake is moving from point 10 and then 11. So it's moving up. So this is how you do it. And I basically need to remove that just like that, and I don't need to print this. There we go. So if I was now to print again, so let me just duplicate this once more, run it. You can see that now we moved this point in here. So again, this is the difference between primitives and reference types. So these allows us to store more complex values, and you'll see a bunch of these examples throughout this course. So we're going to use a bunch of objects, and everything should make sense. Now let me actually dive deep into the actual difference between primitives and reference types, as well as objects so that everything makes fully sense and how they are different.